All right, welcome back to the Bobby Lee Bitcoin podcast. Today I have my very good friend Derek Fung here. He's a partner at the firm Design Group. It's a design workplace design and build company in Shanghai. You guys build out and do fancy offices, right?
Yeah, thank you for having me. We do nice offices for multinationals and locals.
Yeah, and you've been in Shanghai for how long now?
Around 13 years now.
13 years. And I met you in those early years.
Very early.
Very early years.
In our single years.
Yeah, single years. So it's pre-Bitcoin.
Pre-Bitcoin, that's right.
That's right. At least pre us knowing about Bitcoin.
Correct.
Yeah. So tell us, obviously share a little bit about your journey into Bitcoin and crypto, even though this is not your career, but thank you for coming on to my Bobby Lee Bitcoin podcast. And we'll share some stories, talk about some stuff, ask some questions so that we can share, topics that everyday people might have about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How did you get into it? How did you hear about it?
So I heard about it from you, Bobby.
Yeah.
We were, if you remember, at a poker game.
Also at a poker game. So right. Apparently I do play some poker.
Yes. And at the time you were at Walmart.
Yes. 2011.
Right. And we were talking about what the practical applications of Bitcoin were at the time.
Yeah.
Which was
2011, 2012 probably. Yeah,
gamers on Sony or some PlayStation network using it as a virtual currency for whatever, gaming stuff.
Yes.
And that was the extent. There was no real world exchanges, etc. at the time.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then that caught your interest. You bought a shitload of Bitcoins that year.
In my dream, I did. But not quite, because it was at the time quite new. But it got me interested because Bobby was asking me about it. And Bobby is a very smart person, very wise person with a very beautiful CV.
You're being too kind.
Yeah. So that got me started. And then we, over the years have gotten more and more into it.
Yeah. So when did you first sort of commit to owning some Bitcoin, either receiving it as a gift or buying some or getting paid in Bitcoin?
I got the first one from you as a gift. You made some poker chips.
That's right.
Yeah,
poker chips
in the early days.
Bitcoin. Probably 2016, 2017 time
something
frame.
Like that. Yeah. And then that's how we got started. And then I also registered on a Hong Kong exchange at the time and bought some Bitcoins and then have now all safely transferred to my cold wallets.
Yeah.
Using Ballet.
That's you go. Right. Ballet cold storage, right?
That's right.
Have you used any other cold storage wallets or devices aside from Ballet?
I did have a Ledger Nano at one point.
Yeah.
And now I'm fully Ballet 100%.
Is that right? Did I insist you do that or you did it on your own?
You did insist that I transfer off every other cold wallet solution.
Yeah.
And now my wife, my parents, we all use Ballet.
Oh, that's great. Forcibly. I insisted, huh?
Thanks to a wise man.
Okay. But did you understand why I recommended Ballet?
To skip the technical jargon, there must be some good reason for that. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. So you said you bought some Bitcoin on a Hong Kong exchange.
Yeah.
Is that a company that you want to mention or not really?
No, I think irrelevant now.
It's out of business?
Yeah. I'm not sure if they're still in business, but...
Not relevant.
The other ways that I've collected is through poker.
In what sense?
In people
paying you.
Yes,
Bitcoin. Oh, interesting. Maybe I did that too.
Yes, you did.
Wow, good way. Interesting. Yes, Ballet is a great way to receive and hold Bitcoin or any other crypto because it's a physical in nature, right? And you mentioned your parents also. Tell me about that. I didn't know that.
So after a lot of nagging and convincing, my parents decided to finally put some money into virtual currencies.
Yes.
And they did consult me. And long story short, I convinced them to only put money into either Bitcoin or Ethereum.
Okay, good choices.
And so they've each bought one Bitcoin. They now
awesome.
own one Bitcoin
each.
each.
Or two. Okay. Excellent.
And 1 Bitcoin on each Ballet wallet. So they're
Very
stored
nice.
separately as well.
Very nice.
Different locations.
Yes. Don't tell us where. Okay. So no one can rob them.
Right.
But that's a nice healthy amount.
Well, I think they're losing money currently, but it'll be back.
Yeah. It'll be back. What do you think the prices will go to?
I've made a promise to my wife that we will not be selling anything until our daughter turns 18. She just turned 3.
Okay, so 15 more years.
15-year prediction would be at least $500,000 US.
Okay. And today Bitcoin is under 30,000.
Correct. There are still several halvings to go before we get to.
So there's a lot of halvings. So halvings are the Bitcoin block reward halvings.
Right.
And basically every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoins that get added to circulation, the new supply will actually reduce by half every 4 years. So for example, every 10 minutes, there's 50 new Bitcoins back in the old days. And then it became 25 new Bitcoins every 10 minutes. And then now it's like 12.5. And then today it's actually 6.25 new Bitcoins every 10 minutes. So we've had 3 halvings already. Let me see, 1, 2, something like that. 3 halvings. And
historically, the price trends after each halving is quite consistent.
The price goes up. Yeah. So the next halving is in next
year.
spring.
Right.
I think April.
Yeah.
Might be earlier, might be later. That's going to go to 3.125.
The cost of mining will go up too.
Yeah. And then you said in 15 years. So in 10 years, there's going to be 3 halvings in 10 years. So in 15 years, there might be at least 4, possibly 5 halvings in 15 years. That's gonna be amazing.
Yep.
That's gonna be back. But by then, it'll be very close to. It'll be over 20 million Bitcoins in circulation, getting closer and closer to 21 million. And I think both your Bitcoin and your parents' Bitcoins will be in good shape.
Hope so.
That's 2038.
Right.
The year 2038.
And the circulation will be a lot bigger, with the current discussions on ETFs in the US. So the access to money would be much larger. The market would be much larger.
Yeah. So let's it's almost on the one hand, I'm very anxious to see where things are at in 2038, 15 years from now, but I wouldn't want the next 15 years of my life to go by in a flash either. So
that's right.
So it's just.
So for me, it's just a healthy asset that I just keep somewhere safe and don't think about it. And if I get a chance to buy more, I will. And then let's see what happens in 15 years.
Yeah.
Dollar cost averaging, I won't be losing money. Pretty sure.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Over time.
Yeah.
So that's my retirement, or actually her college fund / retirement / new boat.
Yeah, boat.
Yeah, new yacht.
Is that what you have in
yacht
mind?
Money.
You're a yacht person.
No, I'm not.
People joke about that one day 1 Bitcoin you could buy like a mansion, especially in China, Asia. They call it a mansion. With 1 Bitcoin you could buy a whole house. So
well, you can for sure put a deposit on a condo somewhere in China with 1 Bitcoin.
Even today?
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. So you've been investing in Bitcoin for several years now. You've been using the Ballet cold storage. Anything you like about Ballet so far, or is it just working for you? You don't think too much about it.
I think the design intent was to make it as simple as possible for everyday people.
Yeah. And
my mom, who is unfortunately technically challenged.
Yeah.
She's still
as for all our mothers, yes, and many people have similar parents.
Opening the app, checking her balance is quite simple.
Yes.
So
she does that?
She does that a lot.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
She also, because today is September 18th,
yeah,
there's been some news regarding, because my parents they live in Hong Kong.
Yes.
There's some news regarding Bitcoin exchanges in Hong Kong, and she asked me a question this morning, which I want to ask you.
Yeah.
She asked me, does her Bitcoin in the Ballet cold storage need to be registered with the Hong Kong SFC?
So the SFC is the Securities and
Financial
Commission. Yeah. So,
like
so it's the regulatory agency in Hong Kong.
Right.
So great question. I think you personally know the answer, right? You probably know the answer. I'll answer it anyways. Essentially, Bitcoin is a digital bearer asset. It is a asset where people can digital cryptocurrency where people can hold themselves, and it's not a titled asset, meaning it's not tied to anyone's name, unlike a stock. Unlike when you buy stocks in the stock market or a bond or any sort of titled assets. So as of the current state of global regulation, owning Bitcoin is legal in many countries. It's legal. And furthermore, there's no requirement to register your ownership of Bitcoin. Okay, just like if you have a bottle of red wine, you don't need to register it. However, when you own a car, if you were to drive the car, you have to register the car, right? If you own an airplane or motorcycle, you have to register it in order to drive it on public roads. But owning a house, you also tell the government you own the house. You have a deed. It has your name on it, owning a property, house, land, anything like that. But owning Bitcoin, it's just like owning a bottle of red wine, owning a bar of gold, or owning a gold coin. It's a bearer asset, and you can just own it. Now, there may be tax implications if you sell it for profit, which is fair game, right? Capital gains. But there is no registration requirement for owning Bitcoin. Not in Hong Kong, nor in many of the countries in Asia, China, nor in the US or the developed countries. In fact, I don't know of a single place where you need permission to own Bitcoin. I don't think that's the case. Now, things could change, but at least as of today, that's not a concern at all. Yeah. But your mom had that question. Why do you think she was worried about that?
Because they're not too much into the Bitcoin industry, so they don't know a lot of details.
Yeah.
And just like me getting started asking you for advice, that they just know about it on a very superficial level.
Yeah.
So when my mom asked me about that this morning, I just told her, just like your safety deposit box in the bank, they don't know what you put in there, but you know it's safe. But the difference with the cold storage wallet is if you lose your key, you're screwed.
Yeah, that's right. So don't lose a safe deposit box key.
Right.
Yeah. So once you have your assets in the Ballet card, don't lose the card.
Right.
As long as you don't lose the card, you're not going to get hacked or get stolen from.
Right.
Yeah. And then, we're recording this in September of 2023, and we recently heard about the JPEX exchange having issues in Hong Kong. I think, are they based in Hong Kong or something like that? They're operating in Hong Kong, kind of.
Not sure, actually.
Yeah. What I've read so far is they're operating in Hong Kong, and there's been a lot of customer complaints. Maybe it's fraud. Maybe the operators, executives have either stolen a lot of money, upwards of $1 billion Hong Kong dollars or not. Again, these are all allegations so far. Nothing has been proven in court, but I know that the law enforcement has already swooped in and started investigations against them. And people in Hong Kong, maybe your mother or
it's on the news,
following.
It's on the TV for sure.
Everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So I had someone who just asked me today as well. They're like, oh, this JPEX thing. And he was asking me what's the best way to prevent issues from an exchange. And my answer is, if you buy Bitcoin from an exchange, I don't care if it's JPEX or any other exchange, the most important thing to do is to then withdraw the Bitcoin so you hold it and custody yourself. And never leave your coins on an exchange. And it's coming from me. I'm the person who started China's very first exchange called BTC China. So even though I was an exchange operator, even then and to this day now, I strongly urge all customers of exchanges to always withdraw their assets and don't leave it on the exchange. So people who did leave it on JPX might be in trouble. They may not be able to get it back. But if you had withdrawn it, then no problem.
Okay. What are your views on staking?
So staking, changing the topic, staking is a little bit more complicated. So staking is, the word is spelled STAKE. It's proof of stake, to stake something, to stake, put a stake in the ground. And this is conceptually different from what they call proof of work. So Bitcoin and
no.
You asked about
the leveraging.
Oh, you're talking about not the stake. Okay.
Right, because it's related to the exchange.
Okay, so you're talking about leveraging, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not the classic definition of staking. What's your question about the leveraging?
So if I take it off the exchange, then there's no chance of me to leverage my position and make a huge asset value gain, because I'm now basically putting the gold under my bed.
Yes. Whereas if you leave it on the exchange, you can sort of get leverage and margin.
Correct. Margin.
Okay. So I don't think that's called staking, but I understand what you're saying. So you're now asking about people who put the digital assets, whether stable coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other crypto assets of value, put it on an exchange, and then they can get many multiples of the value as a margin loan to trade,
right?
Either something in a long position or short position, so that if the prices go in your favor, you can even double up and make more money.
That's the pitch. Yeah.
Yes. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. I hope your mom's not doing it.
No.
Okay.
No.
You're not doing it either, right?
No.
Okay. So that kind of risk, it's really, it comes down to risk reward, right? So obviously, taking a step back, right? I advocate for solid long-term investing. I don't care if it's in stocks, in real estate, gold, or Bitcoin, right? So if you're, in general, I advocate if you're investing for the long term, you have the time horizon and you have the liquidity to sort of stomach the ups and downs of your investments over a long period of time. In essence, don't put your rent money into it, right? Whatever money you need for food and rent for the next month, you should not be taking that out to invest, right? But if you have true savings beyond your daily expenses, you should invest for the long term.
In your book, I recall you did say 1% of your net worth. Is it 1?
1 or 2% in Bitcoin. Yes.
Bitcoin,
and then the rest, whatever your investable amount, you can invest in other asset classes and so on. Now, so back to your question about how about leverage trading. So I don't recommend that. That's akin to gambling. It's akin to rolling the dice, going to a casino. I mean, if you really want that high return, in 5 minutes, 20 minutes, how to get 20x return, go to the casino, the roulette table, or go play some blackjack or baccarat. Then you could double, triple, 10x your money in 10 minutes, in 1 hour. But that's very risky, because for every one person that goes 10x in an hour, 99 might lose it all, right? So I definitely do not endorse that. I mean, gambling is one thing, but calling it leveraged investing, that's just, I think, it's a little bit sad. There are a lot of degenerate gamblers out there who will who will put in a lot of money and get a margin trading account on Bitcoin and whatnot.
Yeah.
Pretty scary stuff. Yeah. Have you have friends who do that?
1 or 2, which brings me to the next topic, regulation.
Yeah.
Again, a Hong Kong question, because I'm from Hong Kong.
Yes.
A couple of years ago, Hong Kong government was very stern on crypto assets and trading in general.
Yes.
They've now kind of made a U-turn and are welcoming it. But that brings into question, how will that develop and what kind of regulation will be the companies will be subject to? So what are your views on that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So Hong Kong has basically, this year they announced a regulatory framework for cryptocurrency, and it just started, technically I think started in June, sometime around then, and they're going to take a year to evaluate all the license requests for licensing virtual currency platforms, mainly exchanges and custody firms. And the plan is within a year they'll issue the licenses. I think one license already came out for one of the early applicants. And of course, JPEX is not licensed, and that's why they're getting into trouble. And now they're going to clamp down even harder. So I think it's going to be very interesting. I think the overall context is this is in the backdrop of China, Greater China, as people are aware of. China essentially once again banned Bitcoin in 2017, right, in about September, October, and that's how we wound down BTC China, the platform over there in China. So China over the last 6 years, right, it's been 6 years since that day in September, has essentially banned trading platforms, has banned mining, has banned all sort of custody and token issuance. It's banned all kinds of crypto stuff. They haven't put a hard ban on wallets and stuff, but essentially it's very hard to operate. That's why Ballet, we no longer sell our products or carry our products in China anymore. So we've decided to retreat from this market. That's the overall context. Okay, so China has essentially banned crypto. In fact, we just recently saw some government executive, some government official being arrested and put in life in prison for operating an illegal mining operation in China, right? So that person's gone.
Okay. That's more with regards to stealing state assets.
True.
Profit.
Stealing electricity, stealing state assets. True. So Hong Kong, people have been asking me. My view is I think it's, we don't know. It's kind of like a test bed. It's kind of like a sandbox. They're like, okay, if we can't do it in China, maybe we'll let Hong Kong experiment and see if Hong Kong can put together a proper framework for Bitcoin trading, cryptocurrency, all that stuff, whether it's leverage trading or spot trading. And I'm semi-optimistic. I'm not too crazy about it. I think the problem is that fundamentally Hong Kong has to listen and follow Beijing's lead. By definition, Hong Kong is part of China. Hong Kong in the end has to fall in line with the rest of China. So I'm not hopeful, and again, this is the pessimistic side. I am not hopeful that Hong Kong's cryptocurrency regulatory climate, that regime, can be successful on its own. Okay, so I know that, for example, Hong Kong has its own financial system, has a very healthy stock market, has a very healthy financial sort of
financial services industry.
Exactly, and which is independent from Beijing. But that's just for historical reasons. It's been independent. It was before the 1997 takeover, right? So for cryptocurrency, since it's being developed this year, 2023, and it'll go into 2024 and 25, I'm personally not hopeful that the resulting cryptocurrency regulatory framework in Hong Kong will be world class. Okay, so it's a little bit poo-poo, but I speak my mind. I'm not hopeful it will be, because they're always going to second guess what Beijing will allow them to do. They're always going to second guess what Beijing will want them to do, and they're always trying to be one step ahead to kowtow and do what Beijing might please Beijing, and are not willing to, and they will not be willing to go out on the limb and do something that's truly innovative or truly maybe against what the China stance. So, time will tell. In 5 years, we can chat again and see if Hong Kong is really successful, and I'll eat my words and say I was wrong. But until we see, the proof will be in the pudding, so to speak.
I agree.
Yeah.
Mostly agree. Yeah.
Pretty crazy stuff. Yeah. Have you besides that one exchange you used several years ago, are you still looking at the Hong Kong sort of the companies in Hong Kong operating in Hong Kong, buying and selling crypto?
I am a bit interested in the shops, the physical shops where you can exchange.
Oh yeah, they have those.
Yeah,
they have a lot of the physical shops where you could buy, sell OTC,
right.
ATMs, and all that stuff.
Just because it's more convenient.
Yeah.
If I go to a new exchange, I need to do the KYC. I need to upload proof of address. Now that I live in Shanghai, that's going to be minor
harder
hassle.
Yeah.
But if I'm down in Hong Kong, I'm down at the Apple store picking up a new iPhone, then I can drop by to the Bitcoin shop and buy some Bitcoin, maybe.
Yeah, or sell some Bitcoin.
Well, no, not for me.
Not for you. 15 years.
That's right.
Okay, and then you mentioned Hong Kong. I want to bring up another topic, which is in Asia, the two other countries that are very pro crypto have been Japan and Korea, and in contrast, and also Singapore, I guess. Yeah. But in contrast to Hong Kong, here's what I have to say. So for someplace like Japan and Korea and Singapore, they can be much more, their hands are not tied behind their back. They can innovate and provide a true, quote unquote, good regulatory framework for cryptocurrency. And good, I use quote unquote because good is in the eye of the beholder. So the Japanese, the Korean, the Singaporeans, they can set up their regime of cryptocurrency regulation in their own countries without having to guess at what Beijing wants, right? That's why I'm much more positive and much more optimistic about Japan and Korea, right? They will make mistakes. They will have to U-turn on a few things and make adjustments, but at least their hands are not tied behind their backs. They can go and do things, whether they want to legitimize stable coins, whether they want to legalize Bitcoin, whether they want to clamp down on, leverage trading or not, right? They have free reign, so to speak. And that's why I'm much more optimistic about the Japanese and the Korean regulators for cryptocurrency than I am about Hong Kong. I just worry that Hong Kong is going to be too much